Ever since having my eyes open to the world of Indian cinema thanks to Triple R, which I caught on Netflix streaming, I was hoping to at one point watch Bahubali Part 1 and 2. Well, my hopes became reality when I found out it was actually playing in its entirety in a brand new cut to the film titled Bahubali, The Epic. The only reason I even knew the existence of these movies was thanks to the internet. I saw a ton of clips, mainly referencing the final act of the second film, where, and I don't even know how to appropriately do this scene justice, soldiers hook themselves to palm trees and catapult over a hill of a castle, forming a human shield all the while. It has to be seen to truly be believed, and once you see it on the big screen, there's no coming back, baby. It was a fun-ass time. I'm gonna talk about Bahubali, the epic, in a, I guess, spoilerish conversation. Let's begin. Say, before I hop in my chariot and start beheading people thanks to the propeller blade I strapped to the front, if you wouldn't mind beheading the subscribe on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts, I would appreciate it. Let's talk about this movie. What do you have in store if you haven't seen or heard of it? I imagine if you're from India, unless you were hiding under a rock, you know what Bahubali is, seeing as it released in 2015, with the sequel coming out in 2017. So here we are, both movies packed together with a 10-minute intermission, which was nice. I got to stretch my feet, get a refill on my soda, comfortably hop back in for part 2. If you are unfamiliar with director S.S. Rajamouli, he is very over the top with his films. This thing is called The Epic for a reason. You are getting large-scale battles throughout this thing. There are full-blown musical numbers. There are larger-than-life set pieces going on. In fact, the last film I saw in theaters that hit this level of scale was called Kalki 2898 AD. And while I had a hell of a time watching this film, I do lean more towards Kalki so far. Granted, it has part 2 to come out still, which I'm excited to see. But as a whole film here, as an experience, I was invested for the 4 hours. I never was bored once. Considering part 1 came out almost a decade ago, it still looks very nice on the eyes. There was a slight upgrade to the effects in the second half, especially a sequence where our hero and the woman he falls in love with are headed home on a giant flying swan ship. No, I'm not joking. This film is off the walls crazy, and I'm here for it. Before I get into a myriad of pros I do want to talk about a couple of the cons. Number one, it does the thing mainly in the first half of the movie that Peter Jackson does all the time, and I don't like when he does it either. And it's that choppy slow motion where thing has a little bit of a shudder to it. I like a smooth, clean cut slow motion. Plenty of those too. I just noticed a bunch of the other kind that I don't care for. This is such a minor, little bitchy nitpick, but I want to put it out there. The main star of this film is Prabhas, and I apologize if I butcher or mispronounce any names. That's just my nature. I can't even say American names properly, so you can imagine my issue with Indian ones. I'm an idiot. He plays double duty in this film, playing both the father and the son. And narratively speaking, this movie's gonna jump back and forth, prioritizing the past a little bit more than the present. At least that's how it felt. The entire middle section of this movie is gonna be focused on his father. And that leads into another minor gripe I had with the story, which is I felt like the father stuff was perfect across the board, no notes. But when it comes to the son, not so much. It starts out compelling enough. We have a grandmother who offers herself up to Lord Shiva to spare her child. She drowns herself as a sacrifice, allowing the child to grow up, get strong, and seek revenge. Very strong start, but unlike his father, who has a fully fleshed out arc, he falls in love with a woman, he has what he thinks is a close bond with his brother and his mother. Bahubali Jr. falls in love with the girl, meets up with a tribe, all in the course of like a 15-second montage. Blink and you'll miss a huge chunk of story. Now, as I stated before, this is a new cut of the film. It's possible that the director trimmed down some of the fat in this section, thinking it's not necessarily that important, and it truly isn't. She is virtually non-existent in the second half. You'll see her in a couple scenes, but I don't think she really attacks anyone. She doesn't have much dialogue, if any. Kind of an unnecessary inclusion all around. And I also feel like this woman that raised Mahendra Bahubali really didn't get to do anything in the second half either. She's almost not addressed at all. She raised this kid for 25 years. The guy meets his mom for a day, has a special connection, and then it's like, thanks for everything, bye. Maybe she showed up next to him on the throne at some point and I missed it. But yeah, I would have liked a little bit more closure with that side of things. The final gripe I have is with the uncle who's not actually the uncle, but he's just a close family friend, who we are going to find out betrays Bahubali Sr. later in the movie. But that's not even the issue I have with him. It's more of a tonal thing. In part one, he is incredibly serious, very stern, very stoic, and just a complete badass. For the majority of part two, he almost seemed like a totally different character. He's very silly, he's goofing around, he's hamming it up a lot, and I get trying to show the softer side of the character because he does have a special bond with Bahubali, who is a very nice, very fun-loving person. It just was very extreme in how it was presented. Then again, I wouldn't say anything in this movie is subtle in the slightest, and that's part of the charm of it. Everything is larger than life. From the combat, where all the main characters act like they're gods. I mean, Bahubali is, I guess, god adjacent to a degree, as I believe he's somewhat of a physical avatar for Lord Shiva. It's a little unclear to me. I don't need it painted out any further though. The movie kicks all sorts of ass with my small little gripes aside. The music in this movie, holy shit is it awesome. It is booming non-stop. There are massive wars. Hell, I think the final last hour of the first half is a battle, and they go all out for this thing. Although I did laugh because before the first movie even starts, there's a notice for the audience that no animals were harmed during this film. And then not 10 minutes later, we see what is clearly the fakest looking CG bull ever. No one's gonna confuse that with a real animal. But I just had to chuckle a little bit like, oh, thanks for clearing that up. You got this music. While dudes are pulling out swords, busting out the bow and quill, firing 3 arrows at the same time. Dude's got a giant mace. At another point, they take the tarps of tents, strap them to 2 giant cannonballs, launch those fuckers in the air, ram through hundreds of guys, and then we got our main guy busting out the fire arrow. Lord of the Rings-esque shot. And that's done in like 15 seconds of the movie. You have a lot of that to go through, and it's a hell of a time. But yeah, even the animals aren't safe from an ass kicking or two. They're gonna get punched in the face. They're gonna get set on fire. They're gonna be used as weapons against other people. Not only do you have a booming score accompanying this epic, you also have musical numbers. My favorite from the first half being one from a beautiful nymph who's guiding our lead across a treacherous mountain. Oh my god, that scene is so fun to watch as he's swinging on vines, falling off the cliff, picking himself up, hopping over massive chasms, while this beautiful eternal creature is dancing around, prancing, helping to guide him. Matching the scale of the music and the combat is the overall story and the themes that go along with it. The dual narrative worked so much better than I thought it would, and it really fires on all cylinders when it's focusing on the brothers from other fathers. Bahubali has a brother named Bala. He comes from a different father who's a complete drunken douchebag, but his skill set and his intelligence rival that of his brothers. Unfortunately, he has some rather unsavory characteristics as well. The primary one being he wants to be king no matter what, even if that means killing his own brother. That's right, this epic film is a bit of a Shakespearean play, little bit of a Lion King scenario going on here. One that's full of jealousy and betrayal. Hey, you can't pick your family. Doesn't mean you have to love them either. And at the end of the day, that makes for a very exciting narrative. One about being true to your principles, honoring your word, and putting the will and safety of the people before your own. If you've never seen this type of film before, the easiest way I could describe it is take a Disney movie and smash it together with Lord of the Rings. And there you go, Bahubali, the epic. And it is epic. Okay, there you have it. My thoughts on the film. Again, I would appreciate it if you subbed to the show. Adam Does Movies on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. While Indian cinema is certainly not the priority here, when these big ones come out, I definitely cover them. Otherwise, I'm posting movie reviews, movie commentary, live streams every single week on the show. Would love to have you stick around. All right, Take care.